Hello again. Now, public interest law organization, the Legal Resources Center, has just published a scathing report looking at education access barriers for girls in South Africa. It indicates that, among others, sexual misconduct is still rife in schools. The organization is hoping its report will be a useful tool in helping to address educator sexual misconduct, among other things. Let's discuss this further now with Charlene Kreuser from the LRC. She's joining us now virtually on this Friday afternoon. Charlene, good afternoon. Thank you, ma'am, for joining us here on Today this afternoon. Yeah, your report, I mean, I've just seen a summary of it. It just paints this bleak picture that girls in South Africa are facing in accessing education, and also how they are treated when they do.
Yes, absolutely. They face a host of issues that limit their right to education.
Yeah, and you've listed some of them. I mean, sexual assault would be a concerning one.
Yes, that is, I would say for me, that is the highest on the list of concerns for girl learners.
Yeah, and what did you find, I mean, when you were compiling this report around sexual assault, for example? I mean, surely there must be laws either under education or in general that should protect the girl learners.
So there are laws under both the education laws, but also, of course, we have the Sexual Offences and Criminal Law Amendment Act, and that specifically deals with sexual assault in general. In the school system, however, we see that where learners come forward with instances of or complaints of sexual assault, it really depends on two bodies. So either you have the South African Council of Educators that will get involved, as well as provincial education departments, or you will have to go through the criminal system. But this really depends on whether the teacher is appointed by the provincial education department or whether the teacher is appointed by the school itself.
Yeah, and at the same time, you found that it's particular concern that there's an increasing number of girls who are aged between 10 and 14 who are falling pregnant.
Yes, so I think it's not necessarily that we have now recently found this out. This has always been the case. I think what has become concerning is the fact that it is now being reported on more. And we have to remember where girls fall pregnant between the ages of 10 and 16, this constitutes statutory rape or rape because these girls can't consent to sex. So we shouldn't just be thinking of this in terms of teenage pregnancy, but also what are we doing from a crime perspective to make sure that these learners are being protected.
Yeah, are there ideas of what could happen that could assist?
Yes, so I mean, I would think of two examples. So firstly, I think there needs to be stronger mechanisms in place. So we see now the learner pregnancy policy that's been put in place. So implementation of that policy is incredibly important to ensuring that girls who fall pregnant stay protected in schools. Another step that I think should be taken is that there should be stronger communications between the health department, the Department of Basic Education, and of course the police force surrounding issues of when girls fall pregnant, but also where learners complain of being sexually violated by a teacher. Finally, I also think it would be important to focus more in our education system, for example, on comprehensive sexuality education to ensure that learners are aware of their rights, but also how to enforce it.
Yeah, so you're saying that comprehensive sexual education must be rolled out across the board?
Yes, there's been, I think, it's been rolled out across 1,600 schools, I think, in a few provinces, but we haven't seen it rolled out across the board. And I think comprehensive sexuality education, it teaches learners a wide range of skills that goes further than the life skills or life orientation curriculum we are seeing at the moment.
Yeah, and I think girls need to be taught and made aware what is statutory rape, for example.
Yes. I would also say it's important to educate our boys and like the girls as well on gender-based violence. You know, what is statutory rape? What is gender-based violence? What is okay? What is not okay? How to say no? How to communicate your own, power over your own body.
Yeah. So I mean, the other issue with the sexual assault, but there's teenage pregnancy. As a barrier, I guess if a girl is pregnant now, they lose out on their school days because they have to go to maternity and give birth and stuff and like that. I mean, what are you finding about them being reintegrated back into school as young mothers?
So the pregnancy policy is fairly clear at the moment. It provides that where a learner has fallen pregnant and they have now given birth, that the school has to take steps to assist them in catching up on any work that they have missed, to ensure that they don't fall behind. They should be allowed to continue in the grade that they have stepped out of just before they gave birth. So in terms of that, there are clear policies now in place, but I would say we will have to see what happens with the implementation of those policies. It's not yet clear what will happen.
What about teacher behavior? I mean, of course, we talk about the girls because they are the ones who are at the receiving end of all the sexual violence and the assault. What about the teachers? What did you find? What does your report point out about the role or the conduct of teachers?
So what our report found was essentially, we think that there is a massive issue, or not a massive issue, I should rather say, we feel that there we feel that there is not enough done to ensure that teachers are trained properly to look out for the signs of that girls may be experiencing sexual violence. We also find that teachers aren't trained properly in terms of understanding what is okay in their treatment of learners, how they should address learners, how they should ensure that they are safe in the classroom. Beyond that, we also find that teachers aren't necessarily educated on what is expected of them in terms of the South African Council of Educators Act and the Educators Act, to ensure that they understand what is really expected of them in terms of responsibilities and ensuring that learners are safe in the classroom.
Yeah, you conclude your report by saying there has been some progress, but the girl learner is facing multifaceted obstacles, but then going forward, the existing plans need to be implemented properly because currently implementation has been insufficient.
Yes.
So what would be the way forward in your view as the LRC?
So our view forward would be essentially, as you say, the implementation of these programs are crucial. We have plans in place. We've seen the Department of Basic Education come to the table on recognizing a lot of these issues that we have outlined and proposing plans in many instances like the pregnancy policy. So we would really like to see ways in which that this can be, like the implementation can be ensured and measured. But beyond that, we would also really like to see that more steps are taken to ensure that educators know their responsibilities in ensuring that learners are safe in the classroom.